Hey, what's up? I'm Murph Bard, and I'm here to give you 5 Survivor Dead by Daylight tips to hopefully take your game to the next level. Let's do it.
Are you listening? Damn.
Hi there, if this is your first time here, my name is Murph Bard, and I create gaming content just like this to try to raise money for charities. If you're interested in learning the charity that I'm currently working with, click on the annotation in the top right of your screen, and that will always go to the current charity that I'm working with. Okay, so this video is for all those people who are floundering around rank 10 or so and you can't get down to rank 1 as a survivor. Hopefully these tips will help you get there. Tip number 1, can't get shocked while you're in a locker. Now, of course, the doctor's a huge pain in the ass because he can use electricity to try to snuff you out even if you're doing a good job hiding. You end up screaming, he knows where you are, the game doesn't go very well. If you go into a locker, his electricity does nothing. So while I would normally say you never ever want to go into a locker because it's a bad idea, against the doctor, it actually makes a little bit of sense. Tip number 2, not everybody uses NOED. Okay, so no one escapes death sucks, let's just say that. However, not every killer uses NOED. Now, of course, any player can use NOED, but certain killers are more or less likely to use it, and you should use that knowledge for should you be doing totems or should you just be ignoring them and doing generators. So in general, I would say any killer that has the ability to knock you down with one hit anyway probably doesn't use No One Escapes Death. For that reason, the Hillbilly, Michael Myers, and Leatherface probably doesn't use No One Escapes Death. Now, of course, yes, they can, but if I see those 3 in my games, I don't go after totems at all because I take the gamble that because their power can down me in one hit anyway, they probably will not be using NOED. Another killer that is slightly less likely to have NOED is the Huntress, because the Huntress can use her add-ons to down you in one hit anyway. Now again, not a definite, but the Huntress is slightly less likely to use NOED. Okay, so that leaves us with killers that are more likely to use NOED, and that would be the Trapper, or the Doctor, or the Nurse. These are ones that more likely would use NOED, so I would be really careful with these. Okay, so I didn't talk about 2 killers, and these killers are extremely likely to use No One Escapes Death. The first is the Hag, and that's because the Hag usually uses other hex totems anyway, so she just usually figures, I'll just keep using them. And the other one is the Wraith. For whatever reason, the Wraith always uses NOED. Every time I see the Wraith, I just assume they have NOED and I start whacking down totems. It's worked pretty well for me, give it a shot. Tip number 3, avoid the basement. First off, knowing where the basement is super useful. So if you spot it and you're in a Survive with Friends group, go ahead and say the basement's in the Killer Shack, or the basement is not in the Killer Shack, it's in the log cabin, or what have you. Then you should avoid the basement at all costs. Everybody knows that if you get caught and you get thrown in the basement, suddenly that becomes an event and it's difficult to get people out. So if you avoid it altogether, you're less likely to get your team in a bad spot. Tip number 4. If you're being chased, run away from survivors who are unhooked. Now, of course, there's going to be several of viewers who are going to say, yeah, no kidding, Sherlock. But I know I'm not the only person who's been on a hook, and there's been a survivor being chased and keeps running around me on the hook so no one can get me. You're not doing your team any favors at all by doing this. So if you're being chased, run away from people on hooks so the other survivors can get that person down from the hook. Tip number 5, do the high-risk generators first. Okay, so what do I mean by high-risk generators? Okay, so they usually come in 2 categories. The first category are generators that are in a central location, or a generator that's near a basement, or a generator that's hard to reach. This might be the generator on the top floor in Coldwind Farm, or in the middle of the asylum, or in Laurie Strode's house in Haddonfield, or inside of the gas station. It's difficult to get in, it's difficult to get out, it's right near the basement, or for some reason, these are generators that if you do first, you might have a better chance of winning. Another example of high-risk generators is when there are 2 or even 3 generators very close together. A Dead by Daylight game always has 2 more generators than you need. So what happens when you only need to repair 1 generator, but there are 3 on the map, but they're all very close together? All the killer needs to do is stand in the middle of those 3 generators, and you will never ever repair them, because once you begin, he will just down you. So for situations like this, if you're out and about and you see two generators next to each other, do one immediately. Well, that's all I had for tips. Hopefully one of those helped you. Hopefully you take your game from a rank 10 down to a rank 1. If you have any fun tips, throw them in the comments. I would love to hear them. So again, if this is your first time here, my name is Murph Bard and I use videos just like this, as well as Let's Play videos and video game blogs to raise money for charities. And if you're interested in learning about the charity that I'm currently working with, you can click on the annotation in the top right of your screen. I'll always keep that link updated to always link to the charity that I'm currently working with. And if you're interested in some other things that I've done in the past, here are some other videos that I've released. And don't forget to subscribe for more videos just like this.